Hi, I'm Zaheen Hussein, Millvale Sustainability Coordinator, inviting you to grow your garden at Millvale May Days. Visit our town, catch the great deals at local businesses, win prizes, and collect all kinds of seed to grow your garden for free. Mark your calendar for May 6th and 7th here in Millvale. Follow the Business Association of Millvale on Facebook and Twitter at BAM15209 for more details.
Hello and welcome to another River Talk Extra. Brian Crawford here at the glorious Millvale Studios, and across the table from me, I have Jay Bass. Jay, how's it going?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Jay, you are a local rapper in the community,
Yes.
and you will be performing at not Heavy Metal Nesson, you will be performing at the Raise Your Voice Festival,
Yes.
which is April 30th, and that's a really an interesting festival. They have a very diverse
Right.
group of musicians and bands that they assemble for that event. So I'm excited about that, and this is not your first time there, correct?
No. I've actually been in all but the first one. I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe this is about the fourth one.
Fifth one.
Fifth one.
Yes,
So I've
fifth.
been doing it for 4 years, and I really appreciate them down there. They gave me a chance, you know what I mean? And I try to find a beauty in my type of music.
Sure.
All the music isn't bad, so I try to show the good side of it, you know.
Are you from Monessen, or how did you get involved? Okay.
Born and raised in Monessen, and you know, I'd seen Matt on Facebook, and I
Matt
didn't.
Sherrod, he's the
Right.
the founder of the festival.
Right. I didn't know him personally. He's younger than me, but you know, we talked, and he heard my music, and I guess he liked what he heard.
Yeah,
and
must have.
Right. And he invited me, and I appreciate it. And they keep asking me back, so I must be doing something right. But I do appreciate it.
Talk a little bit about your music, about your style and your
Okay.
influences. Now,
Okay.
you have a Christian background, and I think that's kind of unique
Yes.
in the sense that your music does reflect that, correct?
Right. Now it didn't always, but I started off rapping, trying to fit in, and it never worked for me. You know, we were very good, nominated for Pittsburgh Underground Music Awards, everything, performed all over Pittsburgh. But it was rough because I wasn't being true to myself. So I would go home at night after a big show and feel bad. Like, because I'm not telling the people what's in my heart to tell them.
Okay.
So that was a battle I fought for years. Just recently, for the past 2 years, I've started really conveying the message that I feel in my heart that I need to convey. So.
And last year I saw you at Raise Your Voice. I felt that was reflective, that performance
Right.
of what you're talking
Right.
about.
Right, that's when I first started to embrace my life's work. I really feel like this is part of my life's work. And, you know, can I tell the story a little?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, God is a very important part of my life. I grew up in church. My dad's a pastor. But beyond that, my personal experience is that I got hit by a car when I was 7 years old. I was in a coma for 9 weeks, severely brain injured, couldn't walk, talk, or eat.
Wow.
I couldn't, yes, for a long time. I went through physical therapy, but I still couldn't walk. So, long story short, they took me home for the weekend from the Rehabilitation Institute. It's the Children's Institute now in Squirrel Hill.
Okay.
Yeah. And they took me home, and this is going to sound unbelievable, but it happened to me. I went to church in a wheelchair, unable to walk. And by the time I left, I walked out the church. And I remember getting up in church, and I was so shocked. I said, and I talked real slow back then because I was recovering from my injuries. I said, look, I can walk. Everybody, I can walk. It was great. And like, that's a life-changing experience. Can't nobody change my mind about what I rap about. that's why if
Well,
you,
what happened? Was it a situation like was there something that allowed you to be able to walk? Was it
I just think honestly,
like were you unable to walk before? Or was
Yes.
it just a struggle to
no,
to try to?
unable. I didn't have
Unable. You couldn't walk at
yeah,
all.
I didn't have the strength to walk. I was unable to walk. I just feel like that was a miracle.
Did the doctors say you would never walk again, or believe that you wouldn't walk again?
I can't say that. I
Okay.
don't think. But prior to that, they said that I could be a vegetable. So I wasn't even supposed to get that far. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I believe everything after they said I don't like after the coma was a miracle. So that was just the manifestation of the miracle. It was all a miracle, but that was just a thing that people can point at and say, wow, that's a miracle. The doctor, now you know doctors don't say that.
Sure.
Doctors don't really believe. They believe
It's
in
always
medicine,
yeah.
medical, scientific, medical science. Even he said, it's a miracle, that I'm functional and I write my own lyrics, but it ain't really about me. I really appreciate God and the miracle that he worked in my life. I could go on and on about this, but God has been good to me, better than I've been to myself.
What was the reaction that day of people at
Oh.
the church? Because I know, being involved in a
Right,
church
right,
myself,
Right.
that a lot of these people, they know you, they see you all the time, especially if you're active.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if your father's
Right.
the pastor,
Right,
you were
right.
active in the church,
Yes,
so
yeah.
you were
See,
involved probably more
yeah.
than just going on Sunday.
Right. See, back then, I come from a long line of preachers.
Okay.
And so my grandfather was a bishop in our church. So he was a pastor back then.
Okay.
But yes, I was very involved. I mean, I was only 7, but yes, I've been involved. And I'm still involved.
Sure.
But the reaction. Like my type of church, we're emotional anyway.
Yes.
We get into
Okay.
it. We have a good time at church.
Mhm.
So when that happened, it was time to have a good time. It was a celebration in there, and I really wish I could have experienced it from the outside.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? I experienced it. It happened to me, but I couldn't see what was going on. Do you know what I mean?
Were you able to process it right away?
Not
Because I
really,
feel like that's
no.
something that would be so kind of
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
in the sense
yeah,
that
it
it would
was-
be hard to
right,
process right away.
First of all, that doesn't happen to everybody.
Sure.
And then me being so young and being through the trauma that I went through, it actually took me years to kind of recall it.
Were you in any kind of disbelief when it happened?
I'm going to be honest with you, I really can't remember because it came back to me years later. Like,
Yeah.
people told me about it, but like the older I get, I remember details of that day. It's not weird, but I don't know no other word to describe it. It was a great experience. And that's the basis of everything. Everything I do, it's like God has let me do it. I shouldn't even be here. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing that I can write music, and put words together like I do. But it's
Especially in the situation you were in. I mean, you
Right.
could have been, like you said, you could have been a vegetable, or you
Right.
could have been in a situation where maybe you came out of it, you weren't a vegetable,
Right.
but you were permanently
Right.
altered to where you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to come up with.
Right. See, can't nobody tell me. I know everybody might not believe in God and all that, and that's fine. But when you have my experience, that's why nobody can ever tell me that God isn't real, because how many people out there been through what I've been through, and they're active and they have no symptoms of what they've been through. Like, I was severely brain injured.
Well, yeah, I mean, even somebody who has a mild
Right.
stroke could have a situation where they
Right.
lose a limb or
Right.
something. To be able to come back full
Right.
circle
Right.
is really something
Right, I was
impressive.
severely, I want the world to know that. I gotta say this. I didn't really come here for this, but God is real. I'm telling you guys, I was on my way out of here. And to have no symptoms of what I've been through, that's just amazing. And I don't talk about it in this kind of forum too often.
Sure.
But it's a great thing. And if you don't hear my music, at least hear my story. And you might appreciate the music then.
Speaking of the music, you've moved towards Christian music.
Right.
It's Christian rap.
Right.
Church people, a lot of times they're used to hymns, even the
Right,
alternative Christian music.
right.
It's not rap. It's very.
Right.
I don't want to say pop, but it's very. There's a certain style that
Right.
a certain mold. Even the modern alternative Christian music.
Right.
You don't fit that mold.
No. And
You also don't fit the mold of a traditional rapper.
right. See, and that's where I'm at right now. It's hard because the mainstream rap doesn't really embrace me.
Sure.
And the church people, the old-fashioned church people don't embrace me. But I'll tell you this, if you're ever in the room, especially in the church, because when I do my thing in the church, it's not a performance. I give everything I got up there, and if you experience it, there's something with it. It's just not music. Now, when I'm in Menneson at the festival on the 30th, I'm up there to entertain, but I'm going to still give some message. But if I'm in a church and I'm there to minister to the people, then I'll do that. And so for them people that don't accept it, they just have to witness it one time and then they'll see. It's not a show, it's not a performance. It's really about God and what He did for me.
Yeah, we have Jay Bass here, who's performing at the Raise Your Voice Music Festival April 30th at the Menneson City Park Amphitheater. Don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m., you can hit up Jeremy K. Wood's CD release recording party, which is going to be at Liveberg Studios, where they're actually going to plant a tree. It's Earth Day today, so that's going to be a cool event. And then Heavy Metal Menneson tomorrow, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., also at the Menneson City Park Amphitheater. So don't forget to check out those events.
Yes, definitely support local music. I just wanted to drop that in.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we're all about. We're Pittsburgh's voice for local music here at the River's Edge.
Right.
So, talk about the struggle of trying to get your music out there when you've got these two groups that you don't really fit in with either group.
Right.
You're kind of unique in that fact, so it's going to be hard to get the exposure or get your name out there, get the message out there.
My name out there, my name's out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of because when I was out there rapping like everybody else,
yes,
it was still different. You know what I mean? So some people could be like, well, that music is good, but it's different. Something is different about it. I'm not killing nobody. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
You're not slapping women. You're not killing cops. You're not
so when I call
hustling and down for money and drugs.
Right. When I called myself being out there, it was, I would rap about women and nothing bad, but just the terminology that I used.
Sure.
That's the only thing that changed. It was always appreciation for women.
Yeah.
I just used to go into too much detail. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So now, I still rap about women and the beauty of women, but I do it in a way that's family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I have them songs and I don't perform them in church, obviously.
Well, and with you, this is just a guess, a speculation on my part, but you going family friendly isn't necessarily taking away from your craft. For example, a lot of people when they go family friendly, it's they're almost
corny.
It's corny, and they're changing what their real product. They're changing their real art to accommodate some kid.
Really?
And with you, I feel like given your story, where you want to go with your music, this is your art. To try and maybe use other language would detract from what you're trying to do instead of hinder, versus someone like me on my radio station. We're not FCC compliant. That's part of the thing. We just speak normally. If I want to say someone's an asshole, I say they're an asshole.
Right.
If I were to say, oh, you're a butthole, that would
it would be
really detract from what I'm trying to get across. But with you, I feel like it would be the opposite.
Right, and I did that for years. I'm one of the people that didn't even sound right recording myself swearing. You know what I mean?
It's like it's forced. And I hate that too. Because you'll get that a lot with podcasts where someone will be here and they'll just be like, F&A,
Right,
just to throw it in there,
Right.
and it just
Don't
is completely
say-
out of
yeah, if
context.
it's
It makes
not-
no
yeah,
sense. Now, you
yeah.
know, if you're really, really ticked off, if the computer here is
Right.
running apart, and I want to say, you know, this piece of shit, and that's
Right.
genuine.
Right.
But on the flip side, a lot of people do just try
Yeah.
to interject, especially in podcasting, foul, coarse language,
Yeah.
just to seem edgy, and it
Right.
comes across as phony as well.
Right. And I think that's why, I mean, I got embraced out there, but I didn't have the following that I have now. Like, now I can,
So you have more of a following now than you did before,
yes.
despite being in a position where you don't fit in with either group.
Listen to this. I'm going to tell you a story. And there's somebody that I got to shout out. Mr. Scrap. You might not know him. He's hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his own record label and stuff. Statement Records. But he definitely, he put me, and I'm not going to say he because people voted on this.
Sure.
But he runs the Pittsburgh Underground Music Awards. And I got nominated, and this is real, I got nominated for Christian Artist of the Year.
Oh, nice.
Now, this is when I didn't see myself at all as a Christian artist. I
Okay.
still don't like to label myself, but that is what I do.
Well, you're an
Right.
artist who happens to rap about those things.
Right,
You're not
right.
trying to fit in that mold, and that's one
Right.
thing that does kind of drive me sometimes nuts about Christian music
Right.
in general, in the newer music, more,
Right.
more so than the old
Right,
hymns,
right.
is people try to get a certain look and a feel, and you see them
Right.
on stage, and the way that they're moving
Right,
their
right.
body, and body
Right,
motions,
right.
it almost seems like they're trying to fit some sort of caricature
Yeah, just-
of what a Christian musician is
Right,
supposed to be,
right,
instead of just
right.
being
Being
themselves.
yeah.
And there was one band I saw at the Hard Rock. I wish I could remember them offhand, but they were a Christian group.
Yes.
I had no clue until they told me.
Right.
Because they just were themselves, and they
Right.
just happened to be
Right.
talking about that kind of message, and I
Right.
thought it was a lot more easy to take,
Right.
even as someone who is a Christian, because honestly, sometimes if someone's a little too
Right. You kinda.
in the fold, it
Right,
almost
right.
kind of creates
Right.
a barrier where you're like, you think
Because
they're-
there's certain artists that are church artists. You know what I mean?
It's not even that to me. It's a matter of you feel like they're being pushy sometimes if they're
Right.
trying to, or almost comes across as not genuine if
Right,
somebody's
right.
trying to fit a specific mold and
Right,
look and act a
right.
certain
Just
way instead
be
of just
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're just yourself and you present that message, I think it's gonna be more receptive to people
Yeah.
than if you put on that facade
Right,
of this
right.
is what I'm supposed to look
Right,
like. This is
right.
how I'm supposed to act on stage.
Yeah, and see, that comes a lot from my dad. Like, he's a preacher. He lives the life that he should live.
Yeah.
But the way he raised me was to just be yourself, you know. But he raised me to be a good self.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can say that when you brought up somebody to be the right way. But he would always push me to be myself, you know, do what God called me to do, but do it the way that he told you to do it. And I've seen my dad do that for years. So definitely shout out to my dad.
Yeah, no, I agree. Being yourself is key,
Right.
because I know there's times I've gone to see different artists and they were
Right.
Christian artists, and I felt really even awkward in the crowd because everyone in the crowd, they're raising their hand for every song, like they're just and like
Right.
so into every
Right,
song. It's like
right.
not every single song in the world could touch you that deeply.
Right, I'm not even tired yet.
Let's be honest. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, maybe a song could touch
Right,
you
right.
in a deep way,
Right.
but you may enjoy the music, but not every single song is
Yeah.
going to go right to your
Right,
soul and
right,
just like,
right.
you know, bring out, oh my God,
Right.
I'm connected, oh my goodness, every
I
single
know what you
time,
mean.
because that's just impossible.
Right,
Not
right.
every, even in regular music, not every song's going to have
Right,
that same
right.
impact on you, so it
Right,
almost seems
right.
like you're trying to just fit in
Right,
at that event as well.
Right, even my actions on certain songs. On certain songs, I don't even try to take you there.
Yes.
Because it's not meant for that. You know what I mean? Like, certain songs are deeper, and I get in, when I'm on stage, I get in emotions. You know what I mean? And I try to touch your emotions, but every song doesn't do that. You're right.
Exactly, yeah. It's just, not everything can. I
Right,
mean,
right.
hell, if we were that emotional about every single thing
Right,
in life,
right.
we wouldn't be able to accomplish
Right,
anything as a
right.
society, because you
Right.
would be too
Right.
scatterbrained. You'd
Right.
be too much of an
Right.
emotional wreck.
Right.
It just
It's
doesn't.
good. It's good to be emotional, but when you get too emotional all the time. That's
good to
when the
just be
wreck comes
real.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
the wreck comes in when you're just like that all the time. You know,
Sure.
you got to be able to do different things.
Jay Bass, he's going to be at the Raise Your Voice Festival April 30th. It's going to be at the Menneson City Park Amphitheater. Don't forget, Art All Night starts tomorrow night. You can go there before and after Heavy Metal Menneson, which is also down at
Right,
the Menneson
right.
City Park Amphitheater. Talk a little bit about going to events like Heavy Metal Menneson. Do you think that creates a better opportunity for you to reach people? Because when you're at church, people
Right,
are
right.
already there,
Right.
and it's great to worship and to have that sense of fellowship.
Yeah.
But do you think an event like Heavy Metal Menneson may offer you, especially the way you are, being
Right,
that you
right.
are a genuine person,
Right,
you're
right.
not out there trying to
Right.
push something.
Right, right.
Do you think that creates an opportunity for the door to be open to
Yeah.
invite people to the faith or
Right, right.
to church, being that
See-
you're in a public place where maybe not everyone there is
Right.
looking for that,
See,
but
my miss, but answer your question, yes, that does help when they see regular people that love God and they're still striving, working on themselves. You know, I haven't made it yet. I'm trying to do what's right. It's a journey, but yeah, it definitely does when they see people that are normal and can hold a conversation, and I'm not judging them.
Sure.
Yeah. And on the 30th for the festival, Menneson Art and Music Festival, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. That really gives me an opportunity for people to see that, one, that all hip-hop music isn't bad,
sure.
and also I can hit them with my Christian side. You know, and I'm gonna just hit them with the story, and the story touches people. So, you know, yeah, I love events like these are my favorite events because it's not my typical crowd. So I love it. I love to see the reaction from people that you thought would never like your music.
Yeah, and I saw you last year, and I will say you mentioned about not being judging, and you're not, and I feel like a lot of times, I don't think it's intentional,
Right.
but you almost feel like someone's judging you
Right.
when someone comes from a
Right.
religious perspective because of the way that they talk.
Right.
Like a lot of Christian music, especially in modern music,
Right.
is... Or this is another thing, okay, this is one thing that bothers me a lot of times,
Okay.
is with the Christian music, and you don't do this, because I've heard you,
Yeah.
you know, my life would be nothing without nothing.
Right,
and it's
right,
just like,
right.
it almost has like a negative connotation to it.
Right.
You know, it's trying to be positive, but it
See-
almost comes across as negative because they don't focus on necessarily how, you know, my life is great because of God. It's how
Right.
they focus on, oh, my life would be nothing without it. It almost has like this negative...
Right. I
instead of
mean,
an
it sounds
uplifting
like a
message.
cliche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't like to be cliche-ish. I like to hit them with what happened.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know
what I
mean?
really liked
Yeah.
about what you did.
I wanna show you what he can do. Not some vague, you know, something that everybody says. Everybody can say their life will be nothing without God, but why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What can he do? Because people are out there hurting. You know, they might not tell you, but I know they are. They need a solution, not just a vague. Who is this God that you're talking about? So, you know, I try to let them know on their level who he is and what he could do for them.
Now, where do you play when you play at church? What church do you play at?
I play at Holy Tabernacle Church of God in Christ mostly. That's my home
Where's
church.
that at? Is that
That's
in Menneson?
No, Monongahela,
Monongahela?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And my dad, Pastor J. Richard Bass, is the pastor. You know, that's where I learned everything. That's where I learned, you know, my lyrics come from what I've learned.
What other events have you played? Where else
Oh.
are you able to get into that maybe isn't on the church scene?
Okay, yeah,
because
that's
you
what I
are
wanna get.
Yeah, you're a Christian or a rapper who talks about Christian things.
Right. See,
And
I'm,
you don't necessarily fit in with the rap scene all the time. So
Right.
where do you fit in when you go to play at venues that aren't like obviously you've got
see,
the Raise Your Voice
Right,
Festival,
right.
but where else do you play?
like right where I'm at in my life, like I understand people that only do churches and only do Christian events. I understand that, but that's not where I'm at right now in my life.
Okay.
So, I mean, I really think I'm getting the message out good because I play, like, we've been at the Rex, we've been at everywhere in Pittsburgh you can name, Smiling Moose. I was just at the Smiling Moose, like the other week. Man.
How do you get into those places? Because, like you said, you don't always fit in, so how are you able to get yourself into those places? Or
it's
are people's minds kind of changing and being a little bit more open to bringing you in?
Well, they always been open because, like I said, I started out doing the other thing. I was doing what everybody else did.
Yeah.
And now I got a name, so it's not hard, and I know people. I've been doing this for over like 13 years.
Sure.
So I know a lot of people. So I know the right people to get gigs. So that's really how it is. And I'm well received just because I think people kind of know where I came from and what I was doing before. And the real people knew that his music is good, but he's not doing what he was meant to do. You could tell back then.
Yeah.
So now I think people appreciate it. You know, I think they get inspired when somebody can step out and do what they were meant to do without fear of what people think. And Prince that died today,
yeah,
he was like that. And that's why people received him. Now, I don't agree with Prince, you know, whatever. He was a little much of a character, but he wasn't scared to be himself, and that's why people received him. And you know,
sure.
I just wanted to drop that in there. That just happened today.
Well, yesterday when the sales. No, I mean, people could tell when. At least I could tell when people were phoning. I think most people can.
Right.
But I agree. If you're real to yourself and you're true to your craft.
Right.
That will, especially in an art world. I would like to say that's going to take you further than anyone, with the exception of maybe the major stars, which sometimes are handpicked for their looks or whatever else and auto-tuned up. But the musicians that transcend just a very generic popularity, short-term popularity, those artists are real artists who are writing real content that they truly believe in, and that's what carries throughout time.
Yes, and really, I think that's what made the difference with me, because I've always, like, I know it's hip-hop and they like the simple hooks and the kind of the chanting type stuff, but I like lyrics. I really wish that hip-hop artists would bring the lyrics back and tell a story. Now, your story might not be the same as mine, it's probably not.
Sure.
But tell your story. That's my advice for all young artists of any genre. Tell your story and people will embrace you. Then you could branch out once they know the story and do other music. But start with your story and let people get to know you, and it'll work for you.
I agree. All right, thank you so much, Jay. It's Jay Bass. You can check him out April 30th at the Raise Your Voice Festival. Don't forget, River Talk this Sunday. We have John McIntyre of KDKA Radio. He's going to be talking about an upcoming comedy event he has with some great people, including Chelsea Wagner, who is she works in Allegheny County government, and we also have, at his event, he's going to have comedian Gab, who is from the Gab and Josh show, which is a great comedy thing they do for kids, and anti-bullying thing. So he has some interesting guests who will be performing, who will be at the event he's putting together, so hear about that on River Talk Sunday. And then, don't forget, you can check out the Culture Cruise, our newest show, where we go to local museums in the Pittsburgh area, obscure museums, and introduce you to those as well. My friend Randy Highland, local museum expert, and I literally drive in a car and go from museum to museum and record the podcast while driving, so check that out. It's available at riversedgepgh.com. Jay Bass, Raise Your Voice Festival, April 30th. River Talk to Monday, 6 a.m. I'm Brian Crawford. This is Jay Bass. You're listening to River Talk Extra on the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's voice for local music.